Welcome back, everyone, to Merch Conflict, your weekly developer podcast where it hasn't been a weekend and I haven't shipped a new app. Just kidding. I totally did ship a new app to the App Store. Frank Krueger beat ya.
Are you kidding me? Actually, I think you sent me something, and I was just rolling my eyes so far back in my head that I couldn't even read your message. That's how far back. I thought App Review said no to you. I don't remember what was the message.
No. It's all gravy. It's all great.
App Review loves you.
Do I sound okay? Am I too loud? Am I too hot? Do I sound okay? Are you sounding okay?
You sound wonderful. You might be a little hot, but that's just you.
Oh, I see what you did there. No. So, all right. So a few things have happened. And then we're going to get into the Apple event week.
Events, plural. Fracas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jubilee.
Stuff.
Let's go with Jubilee. Apple
Jubilee.
It's Jubilee week.
So you got your Jubile ale?
I do. Yeah. Mine's an ale without the ale. Ale, but non-alcoholic ale. The best kind of ale, or the worst, depending on your mood.
They're pretty good nowadays. So I renamed Trim Tally to Way, so it's just called Way, and that is approved. That's in the App Store. My pet medication tracker, I don't know if I'm actually going to ship it, but it's there. Tiny Clips, that's in the App Store. Now I have an update that's been waiting for review for far too many days. I don't know what's going on, but it's lingering.
They just fall off the back of the truck. It's weird. Like it's nothing about the app. Like somehow, like the person was about to review it, they pulled it from the queue and then went to lunch, and then they kind of forgot about it. And they'll get an email on Friday.
I'll send you a new one. So Heather and I were in the sauna, and she's like, I got an app idea. I was like, whoa.
You get pitched app ideas in the sauna? Oh, that might be the worst place to get app ideas.
I was like, bring it. I was like, bring on this app idea. Like, I'm ready, right? And she gave me the app idea. And funnily enough, we were recording last week's podcast. And what you didn't know, Frank, is that I sat down 15 minutes before, and I sat down and I went into the Copilot CLI, and I worked and I wrote up this big prompt that was everything that Heather wanted in an app. And I did do file new iOS app. So I was like, file new iOS Mac app, boom, here's the template I want to use. And I gave it everything I wanted. It's a big photo app. And I was like, let's plan it out. And I worked with it for 15 minutes before you and I started. And right when we did, I put it into fleet autopilot YOLO mode. And I said, let's go, baby. And we got finished recording the podcast, and legitimately, like, the app was like 90% done.
Oh boy. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Hey, what is the difference between autopilot and YOLO? Is there a difference?
There is. Yes. So, autopilot mode in the CLI is basically doing several things. It's coming up with like a task list of things to break down, verify, understanding your prompt and your organization. And it will continue to do that thing like super fully and deploy sub agents to do things as well, to go off and do things. Usually autopilot mode and YOLO mode are together. They highly recommend it. And that's because it's doing so many things like building, verifying, testing, running, doing, and it has like a SQL database to track all the things and all the tasks that it needs to do. Is that it's a lot of tool calling. So because it's doing a lot of tool calling, YOLO mode just verifies and said, yeah, go for it, right? So I guess I could delete my hard drive, but just go for it. Now, YOLO mode is also inside of VS Code, right? But there's not like an autopilot mode. Now, I would say like the difference between like normal, just like agent run and autopilot, it depends on the scope of the task. And in fact, when you write a plan with the CLI, it'll finish the plan. It's like, okay, my recommendation is for you to run this in just normal mode. This is like, this isn't at a size that you need autopilot mode. Autopilot's like long running processes that you need like a lot of verification, all this other stuff. There's probably better terminology, like what it does, but it's like for long ongoing sessions, and it's going to track the status of the tasks that it breaks down. and verify itself in the SQL database that it has. In general.
That
So
makes sense, but now I'm confused even more. What is the difference between Autopilot and Fleet then? Because I thought Fleet was doing all these sub agents and everything.
Fleet fleet is a fleet of agents that deploy their own sub agents. So they're agents talking to each other. Now you can combine Fleet, Autopilot, and YOLO mode all together and deploy a fleet of agents that deploy their own sub agents that are coordinating together. So the fleet will be like, we have all of these tasks, and like a bunch of these tasks can be done all together in general. And I think honestly, in my personal opinion, how I've seen it is like, it feels like Autopilot kind of does that itself sometimes too.
Okay.
But the whole idea is that it could say, oh, you need a back end and a front end. I can do those things at the same time. Oh, you need this thing and that other thing. Oh, I could do the website and the documentation all at the same time, and it'll deploy all of it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. It's Fleet that I have the most question about then of when to invoke it, but
Fleet.
the rest makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mostly just I use plan, normal, but then I use the plan a lot, and then the plan will tell me what it tells me to do, and it's like, okay, you tell me to do autopilot. I guess I'm autopiloting this puppy.
Just do it, man. Cool.
Anyways,
okay. So did you get an app 90%? Did you break past 90% at all?
Bro, it's like 99%. The last thing I need to do is deploy the CloudKit schema from private to public, but that doesn't mean you can't use it, because as we know, it works flawlessly without it. Just saves locally. Good old Swift data and core data and Swift core CloudKit things. But I know how to do that now, so that's good. So I've been testing it just on my simulator, and it works great. But obviously on my devices, it also works. It's just not syncing right now, technically. Anyways, Apple did a thing. Now, I want to, before we go into the devices and the hardware and the shenanigans, Frank, do you like this style of trickle, the little drip, the little drippy drip?
No, he hates it. No, and I especially don't appreciate not getting to get some Tim Apple up on stage. I'm sorry, buddy, but you have one job. That's to walk on a blackly lit stage and to announce products. Like, I don't know what CEOs of companies are supposed to do. All I know is what they do, which is get up on stage and announce products. And I do not appreciate AIs have made me terrible. Speaking of AIs, I don't want to read a press release. No. I don't want to scroll on your website that scroll jacks everything. Like, have you tried to scroll on the Apple site?
Impossible.
Sometimes it goes left to right. Sometimes it goes up and down. Sometimes the page is through something.
They don't want you to scroll. They don't want you to
scroll.
Website,
every like publishing website is terrible at scrolling. Now, I was trying to read like a Tom's Hardware comparison between the M1 and the other stuff we'll talk about today. And my God, that one's bad too. But Apple, stop it with the scroll jacking. And just it can be a synthetic Tim Apple. You know what? We have AIs now. Just get Sora to generate a Tim video. I mean, no one's going to care or know. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Generate a video. I want to watch an event. I'm not buying your products unless they get presented to me on a stage.
Frank's all in. He's all in. He's like, give me the AI moments, people. I need it. Oh my gosh. I think I don't like it. I think because you and I were talking, we said, oh, let's record the podcast on Wednesday because there's an Apple event. And then I was like, was there even an Apple event? I just saw that there was stuff out. Like, was there even a video? There wasn't a video to watch, was there?
Full disclosure, I didn't even know any of this was happening this week. So you said, let's wait until the Apple event. So for the last 3 days, I've been searching for an Apple event to watch. And everyone's like, they're announcing these products. I'm like, but who is announcing these products? It turns out the website is announcing these products.
The internet. Just no, you're right. Just the website is announcing it. And actually there was a teaser, which was like the Apple, it was like a circle and it was an apple. They swiped it away and the whole internet thought that maybe there was a touchscreen device coming. I mean, there's an iPad, but an iPhone those have touchscreens.
I thought it was funny because we had just done our we were talking about iCircuit, but in a lot of ways it was talking about the original iPad too. I thought this was going to be the iPad killer week. I thought like 2026 was going to be Macs have finally gotten touchscreens. That rumor has been around for ever since the iPad has come out. That rumor has been around that Mac is going to get a touchscreen, and the rumor mill failed. You can't read into those Apple invitation things. You just can't.
Yeah,
Do you
this
think sorry, I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
interrupt you. You didn't even get to start that sentence. Do you think that the hand in the product we have yet to discuss, the MacBook something, do you think that that hand was real? Because the
Oh,
rest of the
no.
stuff in that video was fake.
No, it's not real. No, it's all AI.
That is some it's not
CG.
even AI, I think it's CG, and that is a
CG.
good renderer. It was getting the, subsurface diffusion just, perfect on that skin. That was
No,
a very
it's
good
all
render.
fake. It had to been. Had to been all fake.
It would have been a pain to composite all that and get the composite. Yeah. I it wasn't until halfway through though, I was like, "Well, why didn't they just have Tim up there doing this then? If we're gonna have a fake hand, what's the
Have them
difference
hold it
between a
up.
fake face?"
Hold it
I
up. Put it up. Hey. This was like a event. I'm it's not because like 3 days. I get confused by it because 70% of the devices were for not us. And 80% of the 80% of the devices were not for us. 20% of the devices maybe for us. So like was this the mainstream casual Apple device value budget line or what
Yeah.
was, I was that's why I
I
was
mean,
confused.
I was all week I've been trying to sell my mom on a $3,600 monitor. I'm like, "Mom, you need this, and then you can give it to me just for fun. Like, you should buy this and give it to me." So it
Checks
was
out.
really for her, but, I could use it if she didn't want it. No, I feel like there was a lot of, consumer grade stuff for sure. But you can't say an M5 Max chip and a Studio Display XDR are for everyday consumers. That is for the pro crowd.
That's what I'm saying. 20 to
Yeah.
30% for the pro, 70 to 80% for the mass consumer. Well,
I'm counting
even.
half because, what we got a MacBook Air M4 and a MacBook Air M5. It's funny to just get 2 different models out of the same not event.
Yeah, but MacBook Air is, mid consumer.
Is it? Okay. I think
Yeah.
that's for us. I don't know.
I
Because I work on a desktop, I prefer a desktop. So my laptop, I don't ever get the pro laptops anymore. You and I, that's your baby. What color is that? Is that rose gold?
it's rose gold, baby. They don't
What's
make
the
them
new
like
one
this
called?
anymore.
Blush.
They don't make them like this anymore, trust me.
If you're just listening, James is caressing his laptop at the moment.
It's very nice. It was designed by Apple in California and assembled in China. Yeah, I do think that baseline MacBook Air is general consumer.
Okay.
And even funnily enough, I believe MacBook Pro baseline M5 general
Mhm.
consumer, obviously Pro
Okay.
Max not. But I think they started off the week with the iPhone 17e, super
Good phone. Yeah.
mainstream device. It looks like a phone. It
What
looks
is
like
it?
a
$600? I think $599 US. Good
600.
price. I forget what the Air costs, what the iPhone Air is, but $600 for an iPhone seems pretty nice to me. I mean, I like reading about its downsides. It's like a 60 megahertz or a 60 hertz screen versus the 120. I'm like, I can't notice the 120
No,
hertz, everyone. I just can't. So 60 hertz, wonderful. No dynamic island though.
it does come in soft pink, and I really do like that. I appreciate it. No, for $600, I mean, it did obviously go up in price since the iPhone SE.
Mhm.
Um, um, hold on one second.
Can we blame the RAM wars for that? It's always hard to know like what is real economics and what is Apple just
That's
protecting their
true.
margins.
That's true. I mean, this puppy has does have an M chip, so it has an A whatever chip, A
I
19
think
chip, 40 megapixel fusion, 256 gig standard starting. Good work. USB
yeah.
C. It has a more modern. Mine's got Lightning still. You see? Oh, look at this. It's MagSafe. You like that?
They
It's in,
added the MagSafe too, I believe.
yeah, you got MagSafe. Yeah, right here. And I got it on my iPhone 11 Pro. When I was in Korea, we went to a Daiso, and then this was $3. This case, very nice.
$3, yeah.
Three
Good add-on.
dollars. Great device. I mean, if you're like, hey, I need a budget device, boom, good to go. I think that the Air is $10.99 and the iPhone 17 is $9.99. I mean, I think that's the only problem is you're like, if I'm going to buy a device, do I spend $300 more and then get a device that's going to last me even longer on the newer stuff? And that's the hard battle.
Yeah.
When this thing was specifically like, they say, oh, compare it with. They have a compare with on their website. They give you iPhone 11 or iPhone 12. Okay, this is like not even Pro, just standard iPhone. Like, okay, bro.
Ouch. Bro.
Like let's compare it to a 6-year-old device. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But if I was in the market, I still think $599. It's a inflation. I get it. But dang, I bought this iPhone SE right here. This is my work phone, $399, man. Now that is a deal.
Can't beat that price. Yeah.
Never happening again. Never happen. This is never happening again, people. Never happening again. So all this really tells me is probably other devices, maybe iPhone 18 or 19 or whatever it is this fall, will probably creep up a little bit in price. But it's nice, new modern design, nice camera, nice stuff, looks good. And this thing, it runs iPhone 20, iPhone iOS 20, 20. It works fine. Works completely fine. So I have all of the positive things to say. If you're like, I need a cheap device, it's going to last me 5 to 6 years, that would do it. You know what I mean? If you want to be the iPhone. But if you're like, I want a better experience, maybe save up for a few more months, put $50 aside, get that iPhone 17.
And my argument for getting the newer phones was always, well, Apple Intelligence is out, and you want the big, powerful phone so that you can run Apple Intelligence locally. Here's the deal, though. I think both you and I have both experimented a lot with Apple Intelligence. It's not there yet. It's not good enough yet. So why put the extra $600, $700 into the device hardware for a feature that just, frankly, isn't there at the moment? I think great innovations are to come, and we're seeing that with the Max chips and all that. But I feel like we've got 5 years before local AI is actually going to be properly a thing.
Yeah.
Right now, we're in an awkward transition stage. I'm hoping my phone will last 5 years, but if and when it dies, like, I'm probably going to get a baseline phone. Like, I'm a little bit tired of chasing the Pro stuff, to be thoroughly honest.
Yeah, I was just looking here. The price differential between the 17E and 17 is $200. And, they're not that different. I would say the ultra wide, in my personal opinion, it's almost worth the $200. They both have Apple Intelligence technically. So, but you're really just paying for that extra. You have the dynamic island, which I do like, and you are paying for that extra stuff. So there must be some other things in there as well. But I don't know. I do like the soft pink. It's almost worth it for the soft pink. I do like that it's a little bit smaller. I'm looking at the comparison between the 17. It doesn't have center stage. Interesting.
No.
Okay. It doesn't
funny
have
little features it's lacking. Yeah.
Doesn't have the macro photography. Yeah. I mean, the 0.5, that's a kind of a game changer. But I mean, honestly, it's really not that different. If you can live without 0.5, which I don't know if I can. At this one, I mean, this device that's the thing, is this device 5 years old, 6 years old, iPhone 11 Pro. Is that what this is? No, it's a 14 Pro.
I feel like you're, I was going to say those lenses look a little big, James.
But hold on. 11 Pro. You can see because it's so thin. 0.5. I'm just saying. So the other thing that a lot of people say with these iPhones is like, you could buy a used 16 Pro, right? Like reduce, reuse, recycle. So I do think if you're that's the hard sell. If you're in the market for a 17E, you might as well get a 16 Pro. You know what I mean? Used on the market. And I bet you can find one for similar price in general.
And I think that's a good lead into the MacBook, because I'm pretty sure that's exactly the monetary decisions Apple was making. Would you mind if we jumped to a different piece of hardware?
Let's do it. Yeah.
What I think is, I have the M1 laptop, the Air M1, slightly upgraded and all that stuff, but the first M1, and that computer is still excellent. I think I try to sing its praises every third podcast or so, because I take it on trips and I'm like, this computer's fine, works fine. Only every so often will I see it get a little, whatever, crazy. And my philosophy is I think people are still buying those old M1s and finding them used for, $400 or $500. I think you can find them for that low
Yeah.
used. And why go buy a new one when you can get a perfectly good laptop for $500? So I think someone at Apple had the bright idea of, what if, just throwing it out there, we built a new computer and charged 500, 600, maybe even $700 if you want to upgrade it, but keep it in that $500 vague range of price. And I think that's what we got. We got the MacBook Neo, the new suffix
I
for
didn't
MacBooks.
I didn't know that you were jumping to the Neo, but
I had to.
okay. All right. I mean, that was
What's
today's.
wrong?
Okay, fine. That's fine.
Chronology doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We can compare and contrast with the Air.
This device is not for us.
Is that it?
I want the world to be clear because I see the Twitterverse today. Blah, blah. This device is not for us. It's not for you. It's not for me. It's not for anyone listening to this podcast. You know who it's for? It's for like a family member. It's for a parent. It's for someone that is browsing the internet that needs a computer to do a thing. Someone that is
a high school student who is guaranteed to drop it and definitely smash it within 1 year of its life.
College student, right? This is great. This is mass consumer goodies. Totally good. All right, Neo. So cute. What a cute. Love the pink. Big fan of the pink. That's one I would get.
That was the first thing I heard from my friend is, are you going to get the cute new laptop? Because everyone thinks it's cute. I don't know about the cute thing. The cute is just in the color, right? Because the shape is the shape. The Apple laptop shapes haven't changed shape in,
the same,
as far as I can tell, 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's still a MacBook, but everyone seems to love the colors and the cute blue, the cute pink, the cute yellow.
Colors are personalization. When the pro models get like black and silver, like cool, thanks, whatever. But the iMac back in the day, right? Like that was iconic, and they brought it back recently with the iMacs on the desktop, and I think the colors are iconic, especially in the Appleverse in general. And I've never owned really an Apple device until I had to buy one for work purposes, and have a MacBook Air for work. And just in general, I feel like those colors are really the identity of it. And they had that era where it was just like black and silver and it's kind of boring. So I'm glad they're bringing these colors back and unique, different colors. And especially here, this is really unique because I think the consumer in this aspect is one of that personalization. I mean, this device in general, not for me.
Not for you.
Not for me.
Well, let's be clear. Why isn't it for you? For me, it's the memory limit. There's a hard limit. There's a $599 model, a $699 model. Both have 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's it. And I'm not sure if you can even run one React Native app, one Electron app. Is that capable of running? Like, maybe you could run Discord, but you're not going to run Teams in Discord. You're not going to run Discord and VS Code at the same time because that will take up all your CPUs and all your RAMs.
The only difference between this device, the two devices, is the 256 or 512. That's the only difference. It's got an A18 Pro chip, which funnily enough, the new iPhone 17e has an A19 chip, not a Pro, but an A19 chip. I'm just saying. So it's got 6-core CPU, 5-core GPU, some neural engine. That's cool. 60 gigabit memory bandwidth. Okay. It's got USB-C or USB-C 3 and 2. Fine.
It's weird. One port is USB 3, the other port's USB 2. So and that means that chip doesn't have the bus speeds to do 2 3s. Yeah.
That is exactly what that means, Frank Kruger. Thank you for clarifying that. That is exactly what it means. It means one goes fast up to 10 gigabits, and the other one, like you would think from 2 to 3, not that much, but actually 20x the speed.
It's for your keyboards and your mices and honestly your microphones and like speakers and things like
I
that.
got
That's
I
what it's
got
for.
two on this M1 MacBook Air. I don't know what they are, but I think they're both USB
I
3.
think they're USB 3s. Yeah,
I think
because
so.
they're M chips and the M chip has a huge bus, huge memory bus.
Um, you know, this is great. Someone gave a good comparison, on Twitter that like, hey, like what Windows devices are like, you can go get a nice like HP or Dell or Lenovo like device for $500 or $600. You can get like 16 or 24 gigs of RAM, 512, you know, um, hard drive. You can get like a i5 or i7 on that, and you can kind of like dial that
Mhm.
stuff in, and they look pretty nice. Some of these, a lot of these laptops all look the same. A lot of them are mimicking a lot of what Apple does. And then you just come down to a decision: do you want a Mac or PC? I just think that this device, it's just not good enough, in my personal
Oh,
opinion.
I don't
It's
know.
really not. And you know why? It comes down to what exactly you said earlier. It's not enough RAM. Nobody, no,
Mm.
not a single person, Windows, Mac, Linux, not a single person should have to suffer with 8 gigs of RAM. It is a it is a gosh darn travesty,
Wow.
Frank
Okay.
Kruger. It is almost, I'm just saying, what is this, a netbook? Like it is a it should be a crime to sell a modern day laptop with
Wow.
8 gigs of RAM. Now, funnily enough, I bet if I go to like, I don't want to, someone will be like, I went to the Surface website and you can get a Surface for 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
That should be illegal. It's inappropriate. It's inappropriate because of what you said earlier is like, if someone is just browsing the internet, guess what? The internet is heavy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even doing that much. If I go to activity monitor, how many
Yeah.
gigs of RAM am I using right now?
Or
Where's my
sort your apps
memory?
by RAM. It's the major tab at the top.
I'm using 40. How am I using 40 gigs of memory?
How
What?
many React apps do you have open?
I have all of them. I have no idea. Well, right away, just the browser. Wait, I have Camtasia open. It's like, I mean, it says Edge Helper, but if you look at it, it's like, you have Chrome,
You gotta
Chrome
sum
or
them all
Edge.
up. Yeah.
They're all there. You have to sum them all up. I'm just saying. I got Stream Deck, 200 megs. I got Camtasia. Why is Camtasia open? Let me close that. That was a
Like,
gig.
VS Code is 2 gigabytes just by
Mail,
itself.
700 megs. Mail. Messages, 700 megs. I'm just saying.
Dropbox, for whatever reason, 900 megs.
Finder,
Why does it need
200.
that memory?
His Finder is it's not even open right now. 200
One
megs.
174, not open.
It's not even open. I'm just saying, I'm not even a
Oh, wait, wait.
power user.
Lem the Twitter website, x.com, 400 megabytes.
Exactly. Like, I'm sure that Apple has done some amazing architecture and engineering to optimize Safari for all sorts of things. I'm just
Mhm,
saying it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And the price is fantastic, $599. Cute device, button cute. Love the colors. Love this device. It's not good enough. I bought a Surface Go. I remember the Surface Go devices are a little small.
mhm,
Not good enough. Just not good enough.
mhm,
And
mhm.
unfortunately, it just wasn't good enough. And you know what the restriction was, Frank Kruger? Besides the CPU, the memory is mostly the memory. You can have the world's best CPU, and this is a great chip. What a great chip. All these chips are all great nowadays. Who cares? They're all great.
Mhm.
Your main bottleneck is going to be that 8 gigs of memory, and you just cannot have. It's like if Apple was to release an iPhone with 32 gigs of storage. Inappropriate. Remember when iCloud's default was 50 megabytes?
Yeah.
Inappropriate. A little inappropriate. I'm just saying. You might as well just give me nothing. So I think here, Apple, whatever you had to do to upgrade it to 12 or 16 gigs of memory, that is the price I want to pay. I would take 256 storage.
Mhm,
I can plug in an external drive. It's fine. With 12, even 12, even 12,
mhm.
but 8, Frank. That's the name of
Yeah.
this episode name. Okay. AI, you're listening to this transcript. Name of this episode podcast. 8 gigs of memory. Inappropriate. Is inappropriate. 8 gigs of memory is inappropriate. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
I want to disagree with you because I keep thinking of the high school student. Like I think it's inappropriate for college students, honestly, because college students have heavier workloads and all that. But I'm thinking about a high school student who's spending all their time on websites, essentially, and it's just a glorified web browser in an aluminum can. The fact that Twitter takes up half a gig, that means at max you could run 16 tabs of Twitter. And that's not true because the system takes up memory also, and you can't run your system to zero memory. So let's call it realistically 10 tabs. 10 tabs, you're going to use up all your memory for highfalutin tabs, and then you have one game tab open also.
These kids are going to be on Discord. They're going to be on a Zoom call. They're going to be, it's
YouTube I'm just in the background on 3 different tabs. Yeah.
And it's disheartening because so close. Oh.
See, I have a horse in this race, which is I want to see cheap Macs out there because my iPhone sales, my iOS sales are much greater than my Mac sales. So I am always looking for the Mac ecosystem to gain new people, new app buyers specifically. And so I am normally a cheerleader for Mac. I just want to see Mac succeed. But you have a strong point, even though you just keep saying the word inappropriate over again. It's a strong point.
It's like, okay, so they also announced a MacBook Air with an M5 and a MacBook Pro with the M5 Pro, and M5 Max chips. Whoo, so many chips.
Wow. Yeah.
Lovely. Because we had talked about maybe I should get a MacBook Pro upgrade, but it was M4s. I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. That shit. And you're right. I mean, $599 compared to the starting price of the 14-inch MacBook Pro, $1,699 the MacBook Air, $1,099. That's a $500 or $1,100 difference. That is 2 extra MacBook Neos. You can get 3 MacBook Neos for 1 MacBook Pro.
You can get a new Mac and a new phone for the price of 1 Air. Think of it
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Yeah. And we should just because the student price is $499. Like that is getting into the netbook Chromebook territory. I was shopping for Chromebooks and like, yeah, they start out around $250, but you're easily into the $400 or $500s to get anything half decent. That's not
easily
$1990.
Totally. We were trying to buy one for my father-in-law, and it was the same thing. We're like, well, might as well just get him a new computer. You might as well give him a real computer at this point. If you want a good Chromebook or whatever, just might as well.
Yeah. Okay. See, I came into this podcast all excited. I like it, mostly because it's a Mac that's cheap, and we need Macs out there. But you're right. You have me very depressed about the 8 GB now.
I think okay, here's the thing. iPhone SE 2 or whatever, like 6 years old, like iPhone world constricted, right? It's fine. Not just like, apps running everywhere, right? Is constricted, is at one app at a time. It works. Reduced memory. Doesn't work. Computer. All right, let's talk about the thing I'm most excited about.
Mac Studio Display XDR.
No, close. Drop the XDR and you're good to go. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not going to spend $35 bajillion on a display, Frank Krueger. What am I? I got money just flying around this tiny little room.
$36 bajillion. So. But do you have $16 bajillion?
I do have $16 bajillion.
Okay.
That seems...
I've been doing the math. Okay. Okay. So sorry. There's a new Mac Studio display out there.
Which you and I talked about.
5K. Yeah.
You and I talked about, by the way, when we bought our Mac Minis, I was like, I hate that this resolution of my ultrawide, which I love, which is only like $400 at Costco, was there. And I was like, should I buy the studio display? And at that, I was like, well, it's like 5 years old. It's garbage, right?
Yeah.
So we were waiting. So like 2 are out. I don't know what the main difference is. One is expensive and one is very expensive.
Yeah.
And they're
Well,
both 5K, right?
correct. Yeah. And even the expensive one has an expensive upgrade. You can easily add $300 to the price if you care to. If you are interested into nano texture, and I say to myself, it's nano. I can't see nano. That's too small. I can barely see size 12 font on my screen at the moment. Okay, so $1,600 is expensive for a monitor. The monitor I'm looking at, because I was tempted to go buy a second one to just pair them up, is $400, and it's roughly the same size. Not nearly the same resolution, but roughly the same size. So we're talking 4x. You can basically get 4 monitors for the price of this puppy. But I've been trying to justify its price in my head. James, here are the justifications I've come up with. Integrated webcam, which I miss. It's nice having a webcam up there.
It is
15
nice.
megapixels. Then I did a little bit more math in my head. I'm like, what is HD? HD is 1920 by 1080. Multiply those numbers together. That's 19 megapixels. Oh my God, it's sub HD. So that made me a little bit sad.
Is it really?
They don't give the actual resolution. They just talk in megapixels. And I don't know, maybe I'm doing the math wrong there, but I'm pretty sure I know how to multiply 2 numbers together. So
it does have center stage, so it can follow us with desk.
Center stage is nice. And it has all the Apple filters. Like Apple does a lot of image processing, which is always good, which they seem to refuse to do with third-party cameras, which is super annoying.
It's true.
So you get a little webcam, so call that $100. And then it also has a Thunderbolt, basically hub on it.
2 of them.
Ports. The hub is 1 though. So if you go buy like a Thunderbolt hub, that's $200.
My Thunderbolt 5 hub, $400.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's be generous.
It's got a lot more ports.
And it has 6 speakers, okay? That's at least 7 more speakers than the Mini has, because I still use the Mini's internal speakers. I don't know about you, but I've been listening to some tinny audio for the past years. So it's got speakers, a webcam, and a very expensive Thunderbolt hub. Let's call that $600 worth of peripherals on this peripheral. So now the monitor is only $1,000. Now it's only mildly expensive, not super expensive. That's how I keep justifying its price. Plus, it's a gorgeous Retina display, obviously.
Yeah, the Thunderbolt 5, I do appreciate. It's got 2 Thunderbolt 5s and 2 USB-C ports, which are USB 3 ports. Obviously, USB 4 would be Thunderbolt 5. Now, the studio display has 96 watt host charging. That's pretty nice. That'll charge most Macs, probably not the Pros. The bigger XDR will do 140 watt. That's what my Anchor does. You got all those watts on there. So that's pretty nice, some more ports. And the nice thing with Thunderbolt is you can like link Thunderbolt to Thunderbolt, and like it all works very nicely. So you could do a dock to this, and then your dock becomes a thing, and then a thing, and then the upstream, and all the things happen. I like it. I do like that. I mean, right now, for example, my ultra wide here from Costco has a USB 3.0 hub in it, right? Yeah. And that's hooked up to my Thunderbolt 5 dock. So then I get more ports, which are on the back of my monitor. So it'd be very similar in this regard. I would just hook the Thunderbolt 5 to the Thunderbolt 5. Super nice. I like that there's 1 upstream, 1 downstream, and there's a little dot that indicates that. So very, very nice. I do like that. I think what I'm hung up on, is what stand do I want?
Oh my God, talk about ways to make your expensive monitor more expensive. So James, the options are, for no upsell, you can tilt your monitor.
Nice.
For $200 upsell, you can move the monitor up and down. Up, down, up, down.
No, $400 upgrade.
Oh my God, yes. That's a $400 stand. Okay, but here's the part that cracks me up. If you have no stand, do you get a discount on the monitor? No. So it really bothers me that you can choose either the janky tilt only stand or VESA mount. Both are the same price. One obviously includes a stand, the other doesn't, but they're the same price.
Well, one includes the mount.
It's 4 holes. I have a drill. I can put 4 holes into anything. It's not rocket science.
No, I think it's an attachment on the back that goes in.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I
That
will
gives you
3D
4
print
holes.
you an attachment, and I'll give you some super glue, and you can VESA mount anything. Pro tip out there: VESA mounts are 4 holes.
And they're
If you want to
standard.
VESA mount something, just glue a hunk of plastic on it and drill 4 holes.
You could probably most likely 3D print this. Well, so the funny part is I have a very expensive VESA, like
Arm
does all
thing.
the thing. So I
Yeah.
think I'd end up getting the VESA mount adapter like a knucklehead over here, and
You're
then
gonna
not
get the
having a
stand.
stand. No, because like if you get this, you gotta pick one. You can't even buy the
You know,
VESA
if I'm playing
mount.
devil's advocate, you could 3D print a stand also that would have the VESA mount attachment.
I don't have a 3D printer. What am I gonna do?
Okay, well, yeah, I'm sure
Well,
you know what hipster.
so I think that's I'm hung up on it because normal people, internet, merge conflict listeners,
Hi.
normal monitors, any monitor in the modern age, you buy
Above
it.
$100.
Above, even probably, yeah,
Probably the
above
$100
$100.
ones too, yeah.
You know what it does? It comes with a stand
And
a VESA mount.
4 holes, because you
4
know how hard
holes.
a hole is to put in a case? Very easy.
Very easy. You know what you do? You
Put the
drill the
hole
holes.
It's
No,
ridiculous.
I mean,
You know why they need the VESA thing? It's because the back is curved and VESA mounts are flat, so they have to uncurve it. You know what they could do instead? They could just not make it curved in that point.
yeah,
And then they would just put 4 holes in it.
that's true. It's
But
like
they don't
so.
want to blemish it. You know what they could do? They could make their stands VESA stands, and they could just mount that way. So when you want to like put your monitor on a VESA mount, you remove it from the VESA stand, and then you put it on a VESA arm.
I think the stand, just the tilt adjustable stand. I've had monitors, which are those $100 monitors that we're talking about, that don't do it. They don't move.
Oh, okay, crazy.
The $100? No. $200? Now we're talking. You know, they can.
$1,600.
I mean, $1,600. Like it is. It is
should
flipping.
rotate. Like
It's
none of these are even rotating, right?
None of
I don't think,
you know
no.
the Dell monitors, which are like the Dell Studio, whatever they are monitors. I've had those. They can 360 spin them if you want to. It's like wild because I used to have that. You can't. I guess if you got a VESA mount, you could.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way. You can't even do it with the tilt and height adjustable one. I was originally thinking a tilt and height adjustable one about like $2,000. I mean. That's the one you probably want because you want to move it up and down. There's no way that the tilt adjustable one is the perfect height for your eyes. Else you got to put it on books. Am I a farmer? What's happening here?
You know, I have a little bit of a wood shop. I made a beautiful monitor stand, but I've yet to clear my desk off enough to install my monitor stand. I built it probably a few months ago. James, it's been months since my desk has been clear enough to put a stand on. Just put it out there. You don't have to do books. You don't have to look like a student. You could go into your own personal wood shop and build a stand and then leave it on the shelf for 3 months because your desk is too messy to install the stand. Just saying, that's always an option too.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like really into this studio display only because I'm so disheartened by density pixels of Mac OS that I really want. I think that it'll win me over. That the display that costs more than my computer will finally fix my computer.
Yeah, you know, I'm obviously justifying it too, but I'm leaning toward it too. But my argument is a little bit different. The monitor I'm using is actually kind of low res, like to the point where I can see the pixels. And so I often forget to like double check my apps now in Retina because I have to use my laptop to double check Retina. And I certainly don't test for high gamut. So like rendering HDR imagery, which apps can do now back in the day. It's a feature I really want to add to iCircuit. When you make an LED bright, like it should hurt your eyes. It should be so bright, it's just blasting you in the face. And my current sRGB monitor cannot do that. You need a high gamut.
I agree. Like when I play, I know this monitor, when I play my Switch on it, like it's not doing 120 hertz, it's not doing HDR, it's not doing the
Mhm.
things that I would want it to do. In general, it'd be the most expensive display of any kind that I've ever purchased. Even my plasma TV that I have, it's like
Oh,
old now. It's when I first
interesting.
moved to Seattle. Plasma baby, Panasonic. The blacks are real
Nice.
black. In
I
fact,
have one of those.
they're off. Um, the
I
blackest
still have
blacks.
one. It's gorgeous, except for the
There's
burn-in. It's gorgeous.
except for the burn-in, it's beautiful. That burn-in fades away. Um, I mean, it still goes, and I refuse. It's 1080p, and I love it. It's 55 inch, and that was $1,100 or $1,200 when I bought it, and this would be
Mm,
the most expensive business expense display that I ever purchased.
yeah.
Um, I mean, and I will say, like the MacBook Air and the Mac Mini, I'm still very pleased with. But I actually, funnily enough, what you just said resonates with me because I was having an issue with tiny clips
Mm,
where the arrows and things that it was drawing when it was rendering them out, I noticed that they were smaller on the Retina display of my MacBook
yeah.
Air than they were on my normal display. And so funnily enough, I asked Copilot to analyze it, and it was like, yeah, the problem is with like the different density pixels and this and that, and how it's like calculating stuff. I was like, they're like, it's like good find, and I was like, thanks,
Thanks, buddy.
thanks. I only had to test it on 20. And, testing is important. Running your
Yeah.
apps, it's important. Um, it's a very nice display and it's an expensive display. I mean, you're right. I mean, both of these display are pro consumers. But what is the difference between the two besides the $2,000?
Oh, it's the other one is color calibrated. So if you're doing actual, like,
Oh,
movie production where you want to match it to how a theater projector will project the color, or if you're working on video game art assets, even then, that probably doesn't matter too much. Um, it's guaranteed color. So, like, if you put Pantone red up there, Pantone red has a certain spectrograph, spectrum, whatever.
spectrum.
Different intensities at different frequencies, a profile that you want to match, and that monitor will get closer to it. You put the color red up on a cheap monitor and you actually like measure the color spectrum that it produces, you're going to see there's all sorts of colors in there, not just pure red blasted at you. What you're
Hmm.
going to see is a ton of noise and then a little peak at red and then a few peaks at some resonant frequencies of red. Whereas a high quality studio color calibrated monitor will have less of the noise and stronger peaks at the correct positions where the peaks should be. But to be thoroughly honest, color is relative. You know how there's some people out there that have perfect pitch? They can actually tell notes from musical instruments and absolute value of that pitch. They hear an F sharp, they can say that's an F sharp. Most people have relative pitch. You can tell if a note is higher or lower than another note. The same thing applies to color. You do not see absolute color. You see relative color. This one's redder than that color. It's redder than that blue. That one's bluer than that green. That's how color works. There is not one human being on the planet who has perfect color or absolute color. No one has ever tested for it. No one has ever succeeded at that test. So, unless you are in the professional filmmaking, maybe game making business, the monitor is not for you.
Perfect. I will not buy that monitor.
I mean, we could argue as app developers, we need perfect color reproducibility. But the truth is, absolutely no one who runs our apps has one of those monitors. So everyone's running them on the $200, $300 monitors that we all
Yeah.
use in reality. So yeah, doesn't matter.
I like it. No, that's a good breakdown because I was even putting them side by side. I was like, they look similar. Look at this. Obviously, the only big difference is the hub, in general,
Mhm.
that's inside of it that I was looking at it, and which does make sense because if you're probably sitting there and you are running like a Mac, MacBook Pro or whatever, you're going to need all the stuff inside of it. Yeah, I was looking at it. It's still got the 12 megapixel center display, and it still has,
Yeah,
just two Thunderbolt 5s and
yeah.
a USB-C. But funnily enough, it just happens to be the power that it gives us is 140-watt host charging, which I do know quite a few devices do need. funnily enough. But 96 is going to be good for most devices.
90. Yeah, come on. I charge almost everything I have off of 60-watt chargers.
I have 2 different laptops here, one that I can't talk about, and that one does require 140-watt hose
It
charging.
requires?
And
Wow.
and my specifically, by the way, the reason my Anker Thunderbolt 5 dock is that I needed 140-watt charging, and it gives it to me. So, and I just recently, by the way, I from work we got a device refresh, and sure enough, I got like an HP dock. That puppy was $300. Like these docks are a small fortune. It's crazy.
Yeah, so factor that into the price. Thank you. It'll help justify to my accountant and my conscience at night.
Well, here's the fun. Well,
Sorry,
really quick, the funny part is that if you go to the XDR, I'm just saying, if you want to save some money, there is no standard stand option. It's only tilt and height or VESA mount, and those are the same price, by the way. Those are the same price. Do you want less?
I thought they had the expensive stand. Didn't they used to charge like $1,000 for the stand? What was that for?
The stand is in the price now, but you can also forego the stand and get the VESA mount for the same price.
The same price.
That's a worse deal.
You are just killing me, Apple. Just make the stands VESA stands, and then you'll make everyone happy. If professionals want VESA mount because professionals use arms and things. And
when you look at the VESA mount adapter, it looks like a piece of plastic, and it has screws in it.
I'm sure it's aluminum.
So it is. But here's the thing: it is legitimately 2 different monitors. Like, because where the screws screw in are not on the monitors with the stands. Legitimately, they have 2 production lines. One production line is over there drilling 4 tiny holes, and the other one slit, I guess, inside of it. Apple, why do you do this to yourselves? Just put it on one production line. Put the slit, put the 4 holes. Nobody's looking at the back of your devices. Not at your displays.
I assume these things are made of aluminum. You can braze aluminum. It's like welding. You just get a hunk of aluminum and just kind of weld it onto the back. Drill your own holes.
Oh, yeah. All right. Last device. iPad Air. Talking about the iPad. M4 iPad Air. Cool.
Nice. Yep. Nice. Nothing to say other than nice.
I think the star of the show, the star of the show, Frank Krueger. This wine is hitting me hard tonight.
Okay. Don't you dare say the display.
No, star of the show is I'm configuring. Please hold.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? The website, Apple. No, you made your website worse. You have to edit. You have to drop down. Okay.
Yeah.
32. Edit. All right, that's good.
You got to edit your RAMs. You're up in the RAM.
I am. Star of the show.
RAM.
Okay, star of the show. I've decided. Ooh, okay. Apple, why is your configuration screen one of those scrolly things? Star of the show, MacBook Air, $1699. That's expensive.
It is.
But that's going to get you an M5 with the 16-core neural engine, 10-core GPU, 10-core CPU, 32 gigabytes. That is 4 times more of the other one. And 1 terabyte of storage. $1699. That's the star of the show. The MacBook Air, quote me. That's the best deal. That's the best deal right there. You don't even have to get that. Our MacBook Airs.
Well,
16 gigs. 16 gigs. That was the maximum.
It's correct.
You can get 24 gigs. You can get 16 gigs. You get, how much storage do I even have on this? 512. Hold on. Booting it up. Let me look.
Frank, I have too little. I can answer that question. I mean, that's part of the reason I upgraded to the Mac Mini. If you are going to invest in an Apple product, let me remind you, please upgrade the hard drive if you don't want to physically do it yourself.
I got 512. I had the standard. I got 512 and I still got, not that much. I only got 100 gigs left. That's not good. Time to reformat. Okay. I'm just saying, deal M5. That's 4 times better than the M1.
I'll say that price isn't terrible because that's the price I paid for my M1.
Yeah.
I paid $1,700 for 16 GB and an M1. So getting an
And
M5 with 32 GB, beautiful.
and we couldn't upgrade it any further.
Right.
And or else we would have, because we would have put more RAM in this puppy. And you are correct. I think Frank is always correct, by the way. 1 terabyte
Glad
is a
hearing
minimum.
that.
You got to put more storage. You always need the more storage. The funny part is I did upgrade my Mac Mini. And I upgraded the storage to 2 terabytes, a 2 terabyte, because Frank told me to, 64 gigs of RAM. And the funny part is that I actually have like an external SSD or whatever little thing on the thing. I don't even know why I do, because I got 1.5 terabytes available. That's going to be way faster than the other stuff. You know what I mean? Why am
Yeah.
I doing this to myself? Now I have it built in. So I do think that in general, we kind of future proof this Mac Mini with the
Mhm.
64 and just going all in. So I think if you're like, this MacBook, Frank and I have the same MacBook Air. Great device, superb device. It's actually kind of heavy in my hand because
It's not so airy, huh?
it's not so airy. It's very like, I feel like it's gonna weigh me down. I had too much
Oh,
wine. I had 1 glass. I texted Heather. I said, "Good wine." This is a great device. This pinnacle.
yeah.
This M1 MacBook Air. It might be the best device that Apple has ever made.
I'm never giving mine up.
It's so good. Like, so I think that is the deal in this deal, to be honest with you, because even if you were to configure a Mac Mini, like let's say I go over here. I'm going to go over to the Mac Mini over here. Where's the Mac Mini at? So cute. Doesn't come
Well,
with a
you're
display. Didn't come
mhm.
with a display. But let's say you're configuring a Mac Mini. You're like, oh, this is going to be cute. 5 stars at $599, right? And then you're like, do you want the Pro? I guess M4, sure. And then you're like, I want the 32 gigs, and then I want the 1 terabyte. You're already
Mhm.
at $1,000, right? You want the Pro, and that's a year-old chip, and that's actually a pretty good deal. $1,000, that's a pretty good deal.
See, Apple's then, the Apple prices are high, but once you get used to the high prices,
Yeah,
there are some deals in there. Yeah.
there's some good deals in there,
But you're
but
not
you don't have
getting
a
the
display, so I think the MacBook Air is still like the deal with a bigger generation, more RAM, more storage, all the things. It's a good deal.
yeah, and this will be my parting shot at the MacBook Neo. No backlit keyboard. Like,
Oh,
I don't know about everyone else, but that's a major feature for the MacBooks for me. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know about you, but it's always dark here. There's never a sun. It's always dark. I need backlighting on everything. So, and maybe another little reason why that computer's not for us.
no, I agree. If it's not backlit, it doesn't exist, to be honest with you. So it's because I can't find it.
Yeah.
If you're not prompting in the dark, who are you?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Do we miss anything else? I guess we didn't really talk too much about the MacBook Pros. They seem good.
Did you know back in January they released a second generation of AirTags? We totally didn't cover that. I
Oh
don't think
wow.
I don't think anyone knows about this, but they just put it out there because I was going through all the Apple press releases because I had to because there was no event with no virtual Tim Apple up there. Anyway, end of January, new generation of AirTags. Supposed to be louder speaker, better accurate
Finder.
positioning finding stuff. That all sounds good. I want all that, but I'm not replacing all my AirTags now. But good to know. So if you do buy some AirTags, make sure you get second generation in the future.
I like that. The only thing that Apple is missing now, because they have an iMac, a Mac Mini, Mac Studio, Mac Pro, they are missing either the iMacBook or the MacBook Mini. And maybe that's what they should have called it, MacBook
No,
Mini.
they should have put a touchscreen on it because I still give my laptop over to kids, and kids still poke the screen expecting something to happen. And it's the year 2026, I believe, and there should just be a touchscreen on there. I know it'll be weird for them. The future is always scary and weird, Apple. And I know it clouds the whole iPad versus Mac argument and debate and all that, but just put a stupid touchscreen on it. For the love of God,
Yeah.
just put a touchscreen on it.
I was having Heather test this new app, on my Mac, and the first thing she wanted to do is touch the screen. This isn't like a touch, laptop, or touch monitor. You could get those technically.
Yeah.
But even with the mouse, it's pretty weird with the mouse, like a mouse to do the simulator, dragging and doing stuff. It's like very awkward
Mhm.
compared to the trackpad. She just wanted to touch it. I'm like, ideally,
Yeah.
yes. Like even on my MacBook Air, it'd be nice to interact with my applications the same way my users does. I guess the only question I really have is like, is macOS ready for touch?
No, but
No,
neither was Windows 8.
no, it was
Microsoft
not.
had to go through 2 versions of Windows before they had it kinda figured out, and even then, there's some weird parts of Windows 11 that are weird.
Oh, totally.
But there's no way to do it without just doing it. Like, you can sit there
Yeah.
and hypothesize all day long about what needs to change, but you just gotta enable it, get some bad press. That's it. They're just afraid of bad press. They can't handle it. They can't handle criticism.
You got to do it because, like, honestly, funnily enough, like this device, which is like the web browsing device, is
Mhm.
the perfect device to introduce the touchscreen on, because most
Yeah.
of the apps that people are going to use are going to be from the App Store that are like iPhone-esque apps, or the browser. And the browser is great for scrolling
Yeah.
and moving things around in general. And if we all look at our MacBooks or our Surfaces or whatever it is, our monitors, our displays are just scattered with smudges from our fingers anyways, because we all tried to. It's right there. It's ready. It's a big, beautiful
And it's
display
hard
ready.
when you can spend $600 on a MacBook, which is, I have to say, a better computing platform if you're like a nerd and you're writing code or doing schoolwork and stuff, or you have an iPad, which has a touchscreen and makes the web feel awesome. It's hard. Like you want the iPad because it's the modern device, but you're missing out on all the keyboard and all the benefits of a MacBook. So I know it clouds the argument, but they just have to do it at some point.
I mean that's when get confusing, right? Because a 11-inch MacBook or an iPad Air with an M4 is say $599. It's the same price,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you're like, well, why would I buy this versus the other thing? X, Y, Z, blah 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 blah, right? And
And I
it
make
is
my money on
tricky.
both platforms. That's why I can say I don't care at this point. Like, get one, get the other, just buy my apps. I'm happy either way.
Yeah, buy them apps. Wow. Well, since Apple didn't have an event, we can't actually tell you if this podcast is longer than that event
Oh,
or
fair.
not.
Yeah.
But we are going for watch hours on YouTube. So if you stuck around till the end, we
Thank you.
appreciate your 1 hour clicking in on it in general. Let us know if you're buying any new products at all, and what you thought of this event in quotes that I'm doing, or the week, if you like it or not. Head to youtube.com/at mergeconflict.fm, or go to mergeconflict.fm to find all of our back catalog. Frank, thank you
James,
for going down this road of Apple
please let me know if
product.
you buy that monitor so then I'll have more guilt and more reasons to buy it too.
Well, and that's the funny part between me and Frank, is that like we both
Being a
bought like
chicken.
we both, yeah, it's the back, it's the back MacBook, Mac Air, Mac Mini, like at the same time. We're like, all right, I guess we'll do
Air,
it.
the minis. Tell me if we're buying monitors.
That's true. That is how we buy devices. Um, all right, that's gonna do it for this week's merch conflict, I guess. So until next time, I'm Jay Spontamagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.